Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. That's one of the things I do. But at least twice a month, I do this. I host epic conversations called M&M Explores that is produced by the Men and Masculinity team consisting of Lee, let's see, I got to get these names right, Terry, Steve, and Michelle. But Lee Rosen is program lead, and he is monitoring the Zoom room and the Facebook Live platform. And just want to make sure that everyone is ready to go with this conversation tonight, and looking forward to having another epic conversation with Robert Leung. Mr. Robert Leung, how are you?
I'm great, Dr. Vibe. Looking forward to this call tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be another great call. Looking forward to every conversation I have with you online and offline. And also welcome to everyone who's watching live. You can put in your comments on the Zoom platform. You can put in your comments on the Facebook Live platform, and you can even chime in live on the Zoom platform by either taking yourself off mute, or you can type questions in on the side. All right. Robert and I have known each other for a little bit of time, and Robert always has great conversation topics for men. And I'm looking forward to this one tonight. And I think it's a very applicable one at this time. And our conversation topic tonight is men. How are you feeling? How are you facing today's and tomorrow's challenges? 2020 has been quite a year, but believe it or not, it's just 6 months done. That's it. Only 6 months done. How you holding up? Robert, how you holding up?
Well, I think I'm doing okay, considering some of the challenges that we're facing this time around. I think are bigger. Speaking about COVID and a pandemic, I think that kind of challenge is something that takes everyone aback. So I've certainly been affected by that, and it's given me pause to think about what really matters and what's important in life. I think it gives everybody a kind of new perspective. I think there's also the opportunity, and I've done this too, to attempt to distract yourself from everything that's going on. And I think as men, one of the things we're really good at is distracting ourselves. So hopefully we get into some of that topic and discussion tonight about how we do that, and what are the costs and what are the benefits of doing some of those things.
Great start off. Let me ask, you mentor and coach a lot of men. What are you hearing from them so far in 2020, the good and the challenging?
Well, as I said, I think the number one challenge has been this pandemic, and certainly, having I don't think it gets more dramatic than questioning, your mortality and those of the people that matter to you in your life, your loved ones. So I think that while that is a difficult challenge to face for all of us, and it's an ongoing challenge. As you said, we're only 6 months into 2020, and the end of this pandemic is not in sight. In fact, in some places, it's obviously getting worse. So I think, getting together for these kind of discussions is one of the ways to deal with that, to get it out on the table, get it out right in front of us, and not deal with it by ourselves. I think that's one of the great dynamics that men have, is that when they come together, they are powerful problem solvers. If they're willing to be powerful and to be vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah, and we were chatting earlier on today, and you seemed to be taken aback when I said, for me, this year's been a decent year, a good year, because I've been able to amplify myself and what I do, because I do a lot of stuff like this online. And everyone seems to be moving online, whether it's work or personal related. And it's been a great opportunity for me to amplify and help mentor men and those who love them online. For yourself, are you doing more mentoring at this time compared to before we hit this time? Because it's certainly been a change of the sundial big time.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely been good for the coaching business and the mentoring business. Certainly people, I think, as I said, when faced with something like, life or death, I think it reminds us all of what is really important to us. And I think whether we're conscious of it on a daily basis or not, it's in our minds. I don't think there's any way to escape it. It's everywhere. It's on the news. It's on every talk show. It's in our lives. And in some ways, I think having that kind of dynamic in our lives has also been beneficial, because I think we tend to spend a lot of time distracting ourselves or not aware of the things that really matter to us until there is some kind of a crisis. So there's a great opportunity to grow and to learn from this experience. And I hope that, this call is going to be part of facilitating that.
True. Some of the topics we discussed, some conversation pieces when we were chatting earlier on today, but we started off, and this is no in hierarchy of order, but the whole area of men and work during this time. Having, for many men, either working from home or some not having work.
Right.
How do you feel, or how do you gauge the impact just in the area of work and men in 2020?
Well, I think in general, work for men, what we do is not just what we do, it's who we are. So having that rug pulled out from under you, either you're not working or your job shifts in some dramatic fashion where it's not at the same level of esteem anymore. It may not be at the same level of income as it was before. It may not be at all. To be without a job, and I've experienced that in my life. It's almost like taking your personality out of your life. Like, who am I when I'm not whatever I was doing? I was a creative director for an advertising agency, and what am I? So I think there's a great sense of self for men tied to what they do, and so to have that threatened is almost as threatening as having your life threatened.
Good way of putting it. Good way of putting it. I want to just stay on that point about men, work, who they are, what they do. Is there do you see, hopefully, and this is my opinion, we don't identify work with don't identify ourselves by what we do, but maybe looking inside ourselves as men and say, who are we? This is an extreme time. Is it an opportunity for us to really take a judgment day of ourselves?
Yeah, I think anytime something like this happens, certainly on this scale where you're talking about a global pandemic where lives are in the millions threatened, that if that doesn't bring you to some kind of come to Jesus moment where you start reflecting on what the hell matters in your life, then nothing is. So I think, yeah, the moments that we choose to be conscious of it now, many of us, I think, and myself included, have been finding ways to distract from it. And in some ways, I think that's healthy because it's kind of in our face all the time. But if we can take the opportunity to reflect on what this could mean, what it is like, because we will all face our mortality and the end of it at some point in time, and to benefit from that conscious thinking. What do I really want to like in my life? What do I want from my relationships that matter to me now? How can I make them better? Are they as good as I'd like to be? I'd like them to be. I think that is, using this time as a powerful motivator to correct some of the issues in our lives that really matter to us. And in my experience as a coach and as a human being, it's the relationships that matter.
I agree with you. For me, especially during this time, relationships and clarity. It's allowed me to get clarity of my purpose, and the relationships is huge. I just share some of it, and yeah, most of it has been really good for myself. But then there's the other end where there's a lady associate I've known for 25 years. She called me last night, or not last week, and shared with me how she had been raped by someone she's known for 20 years.
Oh my God.
And I'm going, what's going on with that man?
Right.
To be taken to that extreme. And it's not someone you've known for a week, an evening, 2 weeks, someone you've known for 20 years.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
So it's not always been good. And I know that many of us don't want to share our challenges that we're going through, but gentlemen, we're in that place that if you want to share some stuff, we're not psychologists, by the way. You just want to make sure, but we do want to say that, if you want to share, from any of the subjects that we're sharing about tonight, please feel free. if you want to chime in, it's more than happy. We always have great conversations and great participation. So we count on you to help us amplify this conversation. Another area Robert and I spoke about this afternoon was mortality.
Hmm.
And Robert, what do you have to share about in regards to mortality? Because obviously COVID, and unfortunately we have lost loved ones during this time. And do we as men have to sort of take a look at that area of mortality at this time?
Well, I think, as we were saying before, I think we do have to look at our mortality, particularly now. I think it, as you said, many people are dying as a result of this pandemic, and many more probably will. There's no vaccine in sight, so we're going to be living like this for a while, and so we're all living with our mortality much more in our face. You know, we don't know exactly it could be contracted. Could it be from somebody sneezing at us and not having our mask on? Could we touch something where somebody else had been before? It's a very apprehensive and anxiety-ridden time that we're living in. But it also makes us very present. And there's an opportunity, you know, with the proper coaching and understanding to be able to utilize this to really strengthen ourselves and motivate ourselves in a positive way. Not just in terms of, you know, our desire to work, but again, I think to look to the health of our relationships, both our relationships with ourselves personally, which I think most of us do not do a lot of reflection on until something forces us to do that. And again, with the reflection, the relationships to the people that matter to us in our lives. So I think it's a great opportunity. You're on mute, Dr. Vibe, for some reason.
I'm just putting it out there and just mentioning in the comments section that I'm going to put, I already put one question out here on the Zoom platform. Men, has 2020 changed you? And if it has, how has it changed you? Right. And also, has 2020 made you do some reflection? You know, I know for Robert and myself, questions. You know, the reflection is always a powerful thing. And I think, especially in times of extremes, reflection is very powerful, because your reflection will not only affect you, but affect your loved ones and even ones you don't even know yet.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things I developed before this COVID thing came up was an ongoing process of having men write their own eulogies. Call it the eulogy for yourself exercise. And in having what is happening now being forced upon us to reflect on your own mortality and what it would be like for the people who care about you, your relationships in your life, if you passed away. What would your eulogy be for yourself? And I found it to be an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool to discover who you are at the core, the parts that you haven't looked at. If you really take this exercise on it seriously and really dig into it, the opportunities to discover things about yourself that you never knew before, and in some ways, in many ways, go and mend relationships and create a level of intimacy that I think for a lot of men that they've never imagined that could be.
Nice.
And to me, that is what matters. You know, you're not going to go to your grave. I mean, some people may go to their grave clutching their checkbooks with them, or, you know, their stocks. But I doubt that's going to keep you warm or change anything, you know?
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, two things I want to bring up on that. And I'm not going to give the person's name because they sent the message to me privately, but they said it has definitely made a change in people's lives, made them see what's more important, how short life is, and also what needs to be changed for your own future. Hope I get it right. Sorry if I butchered your name. It's my head, not my heart. This year has brought me closer to God and increased my no problem attitude. I like that.
The name is Pesach.
Oh, Pesach. So, well, thank you. Thank you for thank you for correcting my madness, so to speak.
As I said, no problem.
And Ken, thank you for coming in. What has talk about what you've shared there, getting closer to God, and also love the no problem attitude. You need to trademark that.
Yes. To be honest, I was 2 years without a job,
Wow.
and I was about to lose my house, and I never lost faith. And I got a new job on April 1st, while a lot of people losing their jobs. And so far, thank God, man, I'm nailing it, keeping it, doing the best I can with still no problem attitude. And you know what? It's worthwhile. It's worth every minute, every effort.
Nice.
That's great.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's fantastic. And I love the no problem. Am I allowed to use that in other conversations?
No.
No.
Of course you can.
You better trademark that. I'm going to be using that all the time. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. That's fantastic. And so how, as a man, how has your no problem attitude, has it influenced other people?
I think my kids, when they see me, they see how I act. It's very not easy because I'm working from home. And it's very challenging to, go from my bedroom, go downstairs to the kitchen, go downstairs to my workroom, to my office, do my one of my 3 times that I pray to God, and then could go to the kitchen. And it's a crazy routine. I have to keep myself in this crazy routine. And what really helped me also is sometimes I'm taking a walk coming back, and sometimes with my kids, it's not the easiest. Sometimes they have their own thing to do, and they're not always doing what I ask them to do. And then my no problem attitude said, "Okay, that's it."
Nice. That's I've already got a nugget from this conversation tonight. And usually it's Robert that's doing the knowledge bomb dropping, but you got the line of the night, the no problem attitude.
That's a good one.
That's very,
Yeah.
very good. Very, very
Thank you. I'm also a life coach, so I'm enrolling everyone around myself to be part of the solution. Whatever my kids, whatever my job, whatever my team, I just see everything as part of the solution and as an opportunity to grow.
That's a great attitude.
Great thought process. Great thought process. Well, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to get on to other people, but yeah, thanks for that. That's excellent stuff. I'm just going to jump into another comment here. John said, you're welcome. And please feel free to come back in if you would like. John is saying here, move from Fairfax, Virginia to Tampa, Florida. Nice. Very, very nice. And let's see. John also says, moved away from many friends and many aspects of DC mindset of life to work instead of work to live. Love it. That is fantastic. That is good thought process. Clemens, would you like to share with us?
Trying to get the sound on this.
Yeah, sure would.
Thank you.
First of all, it's a great gathering, great topic, obviously, and some new faces and some classic Hall of Famers who I haven't seen in a long time, and who were important influences several years ago. I mean, really difference makers, Leung and Rosen and Sutton. He's been around more recently, but before he moved to Florida. But anyway, just great men, and it's a great event. So thanks for doing it. What I was going to say was, we have in our area, Baltimore, Washington area, we have a men's team, and that's why we're here tonight, because we're all on, and we're not stupid. We saw this thing and figured it'd be right up our alley. And in terms of what's going on this year and in 2020. And the men on the team will attest, because they've talked about it. This has been huge for us to continue to band together and be, I got each other's backs, and what do you need, and how's it going, and we're where you've fallen down, where you're being a hero. And we've encouraged each other to look at where we needed to raise the game and recognize the opportunity and all the heartache and hardship that's going on out there. And it's not just in the community, it's in our homes too, because, it's exerting a huge impact on the house and the family, those of, depending on who you got in the household with you. And I mean, this is an everyday hard, stuff pops up, and to be able to have that resource of the men, and we're all on the same page. That's the thing. We all know kind of what we're after and what we do best, which is basically like the grunt work and the non-thinking stuff, and to not be emotional and to just dig in, do the work in our jobs we have to do, to be looking out for the family members, being looking out for neighbors, donating, doing some volunteer work. And you said early on, the opportunities, to find out, how you can give back, and what you're made of and all that stuff. And that's been an important part of our focus. And, for a while we were Zooming, because we didn't want to be all in each other's, proximity. And just as things have started to loosen up a little bit, we've gotten, we're getting together physically now, but we're keeping some little distance, and we're being halfway smart about it. But, it's been a huge resource and a game changer for us all. And we feel like we're so lucky, and, because a lot of men don't have this. And we recognize the value and the rarity of it, and it more so makes us determined to go out there and spread the faith and see who else we can help. So that's Wonderful.
It. Clemens, thank you so much for stepping up and sharing. Have two conversation pieces for you. First of all, give us one or two things that you have changed or changes in yourself so far this year, and then what are some of the challenges some men in your group have been faced? And please don't give names, but I'd be very interested personally and group-wise. So personally, what has changed in your life since the beginning of this year? And what are some of the challenges that some of the men in the group are facing, if you're open to share?
Yeah, sure. No, I think on the first one, I kind of view myself as someone who's looks out for fellow man and woman kind of generally, but I realized if I'm going to help the most, I better make it about other people more. I wasn't, like I said, don't feel like I was a selfish guy, but whatever slivers of that would pop up, when I get resentful or frustrated or impatient with people in the household or the neighborhood or at work, because, we're all trying to work in a different environment. I'm really blessed because my job I can continue to do online. So, I think it's got me to look at how I can, even be more selfless, and how much there is there for me and maybe other people. I speak for myself. So that's been big, and there have been ups and downs in the house or the neighborhood or the community where, boy, people are on edge, and the more I'm able to not be like that and be there for them, that I think contributes. It could alleviate a little bit of the day-to-day stuff for people around me, and they count on me, and they say, you were talking early on about being kind of the rock, or however you mentioned it, and that's it's true, and it's huge. And as far as men on our team, men have had severe business impacts. There's one man who runs his own business, and he had reason to believe, moments that it could all come crashing down. And he's got kids and, a wife and a house, and others had to adjust to, the teleworking and trying to be effective and give their best and do their jobs in a new mode. Got men who live alone, and they're feeling isolated. That day after day after day, week after week, that piles up. That gets really hard. And so those are kind of some of the main things.
Right. Robert, anything you want to address with Clemens?
Well, I wanted to dig in a little bit. Like, what do you think was your greatest challenge during the past 6 months or so?
Well, I mean, I started a new job right around the first of the year, and I was learning it and falling down a lot, and then the kind of the game changed in terms of we weren't in the office anymore, and I felt like I was kind of shut out of the opportunity to kind of get competent and learn, and I got I'm running a program and people under me, and but the good thing was everybody was in the same boat, and
Right.
that helped. And plus I didn't have to commute, an hour every 3 days a week or whatever it was. So
That's not a bad trade-off.
No. But trying to master a new job and not look, not look stupid, that was hard. And I just think in the household too, it's just, my wife has been this stuff, she's generally pretty on top or cool about this kind of stuff, but dealing with it and going with the punches. But there's just times where she was like, what the fuck, and just dealing with that, letting her do what she needs to do, express how she needs to express, whether that's verbally or whatever. Sometimes I had to be the recipient of some stuff that I was like, hey, what the hell's up with this, and it's like, it's one of the most valuable things I know about being married is it's not about what it's about, is one of my guidelines. And it's not about me. She needs to get that out.
Unload,
and it ain't about me. It ain't toward me. And as long as I can kind of hold that, hold that posture,
that space, right?
That's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's good to know, man. You are the cherished target.
That's right.
It's a good terminology.
I like that one said.
Yeah,
it's well put.
Wise thoughts. Really, really wise thoughts. Well, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Clemens. Thanks for sharing.
Hey, man, no problem.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else want to come on in? The two gentlemen have stepped up and led the charge, so to speak, and doing a fantastic job. Again, you can communicate either via the texts on Zoom or Facebook Live, or if you're on Zoom, you can come on and as I've been told, the Flossie, show up. You can show it. That's what Robert and Lee, some of the terminology they've educated with to show up, per se. As we go on, and we hope more people do come in, let's talk about the whole area of relationships. And I think Clemens did a great lead in for us. Oh, George, come on in.
Yeah, one of the things that we started out talking about was relationships during this time period. And, one of the challenges is the 24/7, especially when you're in lockdown and it's there all the time. And I have actually this team meeting is a great getaway because it gives me an opportunity to be with my men and have that release or whatever. But the 24/7 lockdown certainly puts a challenge on the relationship. Certainly there are tests and roadblocks that are easily in the way. And I found that I've met the challenges and have moved on. So I think it actually has made our relationship that much better. I'm also in a situation where I'm the major caregiver for my wife, and so her dependence on me has altered our relationship, but in a good way, because we both have accepted where we are and what we need to do for each other. And with all of her physical needs, I know that she still has her emotional needs and the other things that makes her a woman. And I need to be cognizant of that and paying attention. Sometimes I fail, but that's okay. It's
Hey, you know
that's
what?
part of the process.
Hey, you know what? Failure is a moment. It's not a person.
There
Right?
you go.
Right?
That's right.
You
That's
know,
a good one.
I want to ask something, George. At the beginning of this time, it sounds like it was challenging, but it seems that you've adjusted fine. Was there a moment over the last few months that it began to turn into into light instead of darkness, so to speak?
I think that because we were already on that path in terms of the caregiver aspect of it, that time together and self-reliance and not being able to, she doesn't do well with being pent up. Unfortunately, I'm able to get out as much as I can, but the moment was when I realized that my job was also to make sure that she was staying connected with the world and doing everything possible to make that a reality for her, so that I can then not be her only stimulus or input or connection with the world. And so I try and make arrangements as much as possible, either through Zoom or through, just phone calls and connecting with family, friends, and, whatever it takes. There was early on, it was, and she paid me the biggest compliment. She was, I sure am glad that you're here with me. If I'm going to be stuck here, I'm glad it's you. So
nice. That's good.
Well done, George.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Robert, or ask George about?
Well, I wanted to know, to dig into that a little bit and ask you, what was the biggest challenge for you?
Several challenges, personally, in terms of my work. I've had to reinvent myself and how I do it. Everything is done online. I've only been out to see customers live. I work with small businesses, and unfortunately, those small businesses are the hardest ones hit, and so it's having an impact on my livelihood as well as my business. So as far as the biggest, I realize it's not about me. I need to, I need to make these adjustments because this is what we're all going through. It's not about me.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, George, and I think that it's not about me attitude is valuable, but there is a big part of it that is about you, that is about us individually, and it's important to get the right kind of support to get through that. Are you on a men's team?
Yeah, I'm here with my men's team now. I had to step away so I could get some light.
Team? Is it
Clemens and McDougal and no Sutton?
No, okay.
Sutton and I have been on teams before, but he's down. We're here in Baltimore, and so Johnson and there's several of us on now.
I just want to know who is part of a team. So you've got some team support around this, and that's great.
Absolutely.
I think that's really valuable to have your men.
Yep, I know.
And I honor you for the work that you're doing, man.
Thank you. We're glad to be here. Like Clemens said, we thought this was a perfect segment of our meeting. We've done some work earlier this evening, and now we are glad to join in with you.
Thank you.
It's great to be here with you too, man.
This is good. And yeah, we're having a very good conversation tonight. And I think, Lee, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I could. Onto the part that was, there's some opportunities, like there was a lot of easy opportunities around work that our business had to all work from home. I work remotely, but everybody that I work with works in, a couple of locations. So there was just plenty of opportunities to lead, which was the good and easy and almost a distraction part. The part that was hard for me was, it's my wife and my son here. We're pretty much locked up most of the time. And they're very, they're very introverted folks. So they adjusted a little bit easier. And, the being inside all day, working from my office, and then staying inside over the course of time over the last months really, had me walking around in a pissed off mood. And luckily my wife knows when I get in my mood. She doesn't take that personally. She's a lot like Clemens. She listens and she goes, okay, you're grumpy, and walks away. But it's been sticking. And that's probably the hardest part for me was just starting to see a little bit of light. But that part was just the lack of outside, people other than on Zoom and stuff like that's been hitting.
Good point. Good point. I think many a man that I've spoken with over the last few months, that's one of the things that comes out to them is that, I haven't seen my guys, or haven't, seen a guy I had a face-to-face, not on the screen, but actual human face-to-face conversation. How have you been able to adjust with that, Lee? How were you able to deal with that over the last few months?
It's mostly like the last 6 weeks. It's been tougher. I would say I haven't done that good a job, but these, doing the men and masculinity thing and just diving a little bit more into work and making it, I think I heard the theme, making it about other people, has gotten me in more action. So I'm not wallowing in whatever that feeling is, that lack of being connected feeling.
Robert, anything you want to add on with or ask Lee about?
No, not at the moment, but I'd like to hear something from all the men on the call, just about whatever you've got to say, or why you're here, or, what you're thinking.
I just want to say it's good to see your face, Rosen. We talk on the phone every week, and it's good to see your face. You're looking good, buddy.
I don't know if myself and Robert say that all the time, but I guess we'll buy in. We'll buy in with you.
Yeah, I'll go along with you on that, George.
Okay. We'll buy in. Yeah, definitely. We'd appreciate other men to step up and come on in. And you men and those who are watching this live, you're driving the ship. We're just steering the ship. We want you to drive it because it's all about you. It's all about us, but it's also about the people we're impacting all around the world, not just in our homes and in our neighborhoods, in our workplaces. This is a global conversation, not just in the house or around the block per se. So definitely anyone who wants to join in, very, very, very good. We were getting into the area of the relationship thing. And Robert, I know that's something that you're very passionate about men in relationships. So continue on. And if you get interrupted, that's a good thing.
Well, this call is an example of relationship, and the men who are on teams or who have been on teams know that relationship is what it's about. It's the connection that we generate with other men in this case, which is a powerful bond. I mean, I've been I did my Sterling Men's Weekend in '92, and I've been on a team since then. So it's been decades involved with the same team of men, and it's changed my life for the better, and it's made going through this process of this pandemic a lot easier to deal with, and to have that kind of support, and to be challenged to do better in that environment by my team. So sometimes the support looks like being challenged too. So I think, I'd like to hear from the other men on the team. Before I start calling you by name, why don't some of you jump on the call here? I'm looking at you, Sutton.
You see, this is as I said,
so come on, man.
Before we went live, I said I'm not part of a team per se, so I don't want to call anybody out. If I was part of the team, then I call people out. But I'm staying out of the ruckus tonight. but no, it's all good. And I think the relationship thing is so very, very important. And I want to encourage those who are watching this live on the replay, especially if you don't have a relationship, start a relationship with an elder at this time. think it's I'm very passionate about intergenerational conversations, and whether it's an elder or a younger person, start generating that conversation. Start generating that, because there are older people that, again, have never seen anything like this, but they're still around and they have the evaluated experience. They've been through some stuff, and that evaluated experience can help us navigate. And also for the younger ones, they're looking at us. They're looking at us men to be the warrior, the rock, the person to get through the crisis. So we're being watched. Whether you know it or not, you're being watched. Oh, Mr. Roden is in the house.
Before we jump on Roden, though, I think Mr. Sutton was about to speak, and I don't want to. We got to unmute him.
Oh, he's unmuted.
It looks like it's muted from my end, but okay.
Right. Yeah, I think he's muted himself.
Now, am I unmuted now? Okay.
You are unmuted, Mr. Sutton.
Awesome. It's good to have the mute thing out there, though. But hey, I'll just say, yeah, so I've been on men's team up until about a month ago. I've been in Tampa for about a month now. So I literally sat down. I lost a friend of mine who committed suicide.
Wow.
A man who basically, had gotten married, was married for a long time. His wife got citizenship 3 weeks later. She left him. And this is a guy that was fairly successful in some ways, right? And then, a guy that was also a man that was also a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. So I'm not trying to put him in a thing, but what I'm going to just indicate. Hey, can you guys put your phone on mute, please?
Yeah.
So anyways, I would just say that affected me, right? And he was also a man I tried to get to go to the men's weekend. And I just was, I've been through shit with people in my family. I've lost 3 members of my immediate family. I've lost 3 of my best friends over like the last 15 years, along with those folks, 3 people in my family, my sister, my mom, my dad. So, when I went and did my men's weekend, a lot of that was just about getting through grief. I didn't realize how much grief I was carrying around. And anyways, where I'm at now is moved to Tampa. I've kind of moved out of an area, where I had very strong connections with people, but I just felt very claustrophobic, felt very kind of, I'd been living in DC for a long time with my wife, and we just made a decision. I had spent some time down in Tampa and decided, hey, you know what? We're just going to go change it up. And I said, fuck it. Right. So I said, we're going to do it. I was paying rent. Right. So I decided, hey, I'm going to pay somebody else's mortgage this year coming up, but get out of town. So it's been an adjustment coming down here. I mean, it's, I've got some people that I know in the area, Rosen's in the area. Right. We've been talking probably once a week, and, I don't have anything super grand, but I'm just going to let you know that, I'm just kind of get myself readjusted, right? I mean, part of it, I think, was kind of like a geographical cure, but at the same time, I knew that I wanted to have more fun in my life, and I wanted to have new experiences and different things and not be afraid to leave. The thing is, a lot of people don't leave DC because they feel like there's all these jobs, and if they leave the area, and I just was like, I just had to tell myself, life isn't about being in the area. I don't know, maybe it is, right? But I basically just said, I at least need a sabbatical, if not permanently just relocating. And so, we're enjoying it. It's kind of locked down here. A lot of people getting COVID. Excuse me as I cough. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on around that. So I've been staying safe on that. But, we go out for a little bit, run errands. I've gone to a couple places outside, and just trying to explore a new life and slowly connecting with people. But, it's like you're not connecting with a ton of people, but it's a pretty interesting place. There's a lot of people relocating into Tampa right now where we live. So we met a couple folks. So I don't know if you need me to dig deeper, Young or Mr. Leung, let me know. You're always good for that.
If you can do it, I'd appreciate it, man. I think everybody else would too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had an affair a couple of years ago, and I almost screwed up my marriage over it, and we kind of needed to change a couple things in life, and that's a constant repair. I mean, I think I'm in a much better place, but been through some things.
Well,
and
sorry, good.
Yeah. I just want to put that out there.
How is being in this dynamic now where everybody's kind of looking at their mortality one way or the other? How does that affect your perspective on some of the things you've been talking about, the losses that you've suffered and the recent infidelity? How does that put you in perspective?
And the infidelity was a couple of years ago, but recent enough, right? So I'm not being defensive. I'm just putting in perspective. I don't know. There's so much to it, but I mean, I turned 52, and some part of me, I was up at 4:00 this morning. I was at a boxing class at 6 a.m. this morning. There was only 2 people in the class. That's why I went. But I mean, I'm still living strong in some ways, but in some ways I feel like, I have a lot of wisdom to pass on to people. And, but at the same time, I still got a lot of I'm still young in some ways. So, I don't know, man. I'm trying to spend less time analyzing everything and more time just being present and just diving into it. And if it's good, great. If it's weird, or if I feel tired because I'm getting used to the whole, we moved down here in July. Okay. So it's like the good part is it's like, if you're going to move to Florida, you might as well move down in July and look at it as training. You're getting through the training period of the first 3 months. Right. And then by the end, you're going to be like, hey, this isn't so bad. And, it feels a lot less claustrophobic down here, right? When I'm driving around, I just feel more freed up and relaxed, and
So what's a piece of wisdom that you would pass on to the men on the call?
Yeah, I would tell men on this call that I sat down and I wrote just my goals, but I made decisions. And the distinction I want you to get is, when you make a decision, it's not just a fucking goal. The decision is, you're going to do it. You're going to be all in. It doesn't matter what people say or what you think, or if you get up in your head. It's like you stay focused, right? Just like the way the last time you had to go get the Five Guys, if you're not a vegetarian, right? No. So last time you went to Five Guys, you just made a decision. I'm going to Five Guys and I'm getting a burger, right? It wasn't like, oh, well, maybe I'm going to go do something. No, it was like, it's the same thing when you're making decisions about, I just made a decision about a bunch of things, and it was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to quit fucking doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm going to deal with, some of the interruptions, some of the inconvenience, and, just don't be scared. And at some point you got to make a move. And for me, I just felt like things had gotten stale, and, I sat down, I really got clear about what I wanted to do, and I put together things that I wanted to do, and I've been moving in that direction, and have I done everything? Absolutely not. But I did move.
Good job.
Thanks, man.
That's a challenge.
No, that's great, John. There's a number of things I've taken from that, and I realized one of the things that you did say, you got to focus on the moment. You've really got to focus. And going to be a little biased here. I live in Toronto. We're still the NBA champions, and and when the Raptors won their championship, the gentleman who really drove it home for them was a gentleman named Kawhi Leonard, great basketball player. Kawhi. And right after he had that trophy in his hand, there was a reporter came out to him and said, like, how do you do what you do? Like, how do you do it? He says, look, all I think about when I get that ball is the moment, not the past, not the future. I just focus on the moment. And that's one of the things that I've learned from you, and also what you've done. And again, another sports analogy, you know, racing car drivers, anyone who wins the Indy 500, they have to take pit stops once in a while. And you need to take those pit stops once in a while in your journey. And even now, yeah, we as men take those pit stops. Rest and clarity is part of the process. Don't feel bad. Don't let it beat you up. Take that rest. If you have to, move to Florida, join John, join Lee, and they'll give you clarity. They'll give you some humor and some fun too. But, you know, that's, I just wanted to add on to that, the clarity and the rest, and think about the moment. That's all we can really control as men. Robert, anything you want to add?
No, I think that was well said. I think it was well said, Dr. Vibe. I'd just like to, you know, let's continue around the horn and hear from some of the other men.
Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Don't be a stranger. Well,
Sutton, I just want to acknowledge you and recognize that when you make those decisions and move on your decisions, that's total freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks, Pryor. Good to hear from you. Good to see the team on here.
It's good. This is good. Anyone else want to add? You guys are on fire
Johnson's
tonight,
still
man.
on here? Johnson's still on there?
yeah.
I'm still here.
It's calling you out,
What
Johnson.
say you,
Let's
man?
hear from you, man.
Yeah, I guess what I battle, I mean, make it short and sweet, is I have a business. My customer base is restaurants, food establishments. We clean the grease exhaust hoods in the kitchen. And I guess it's the unknown. I applied and luckily got the payroll protection program, which that was like, I believe it's like 13 weeks. It's run out now, but it's, you know, provided me with an opportunity to build up some income, because we were working during that time sporadically, you know, and and the government was picking up the payroll. So that giving me a cushion to come back with, because work is getting real thin now. And with it's just so, I guess, the unknown of what's lies ahead. And I can, you know, being a businessman, you have to be able to, you know, forecast a little bit. And you know, doesn't look like the COVID's getting any better. And so they're talking about, you know, shutting down restaurants completely now, you know, except for carry out, which, you know, that's probably about 15% of their business. So they're hurt. And I guess it's just the unknown of where I'm going to end up with this business. I'm 64, so that adds another layer to it. You know, if you're 30, not easy, but you know, you have an opportunity. But you know, just battling through it, and also on top of it, I guess the silver lining to this is I've spent a lot of time with my wife and daughter. My one daughter lives in Baltimore, so she's not around too much. She works at Johns Hopkins, and but she, my youngest daughter, just getting a good perspective around the social things that are going on right now. The world is not only in a pandemic; it's America's in a how would you say it? I mean, a deep change and a deep looking at itself. And so I've gotten a chance to really connect with her. So that's kind of a silver lining around this. And she's taught me a lot about, you know, she's really involved within the BLM, and just giving me a lot of insight. So that's where I'm at.
That's great, man.
Thanks for sharing. You still in the call out phase, Robert?
Well, I'm inviting Matt to just jump in and speak. Tom Mack is with us. I'm sure he's got something to share.
I haven't heard from Mr. Mack in a minute. What's going on in the world of Tom Mack? Because there's always something going on in the world of Tom Mack. I hear somebody.
He's on mute, so he's got to.
Oh, yeah, here he comes.
Hang on a second, Tom.
There we still can't hear him.
He's still on mute.
Yeah, he's still on mute.
There you go. There you go, Tom.
Tom Mack's in the house.
It's good to see Pryor and Clemens and Sutton. Screw the other guys. No, I hope everybody's doing well. I just literally got off a Board of Education meeting, and the fear that's involved in restarting the schools here on Eastern Long Island, and teachers are, paranoid, and they're talking about, all sorts of shit. A lot of people are scared, like I was in the beginning myself. I don't know. It's been a double-edged sword for me, but I've run my business. I've been in business for 37 years. I've been running it for the past 12, but was so short-handed this year. I've been physically working every single day, and I thought I was in shape because I do my martial arts and I'm in the gym every night. And I found out how much shape I was not in. So I still work every day with my crew, and in that regard, I'm very grateful because we are busy, and I give what I can. I support our local newspapers with our advertising, and even though I live in one of the richest areas in the country, we have food lines too. We service the rich, and you go around the block and there's people a block and a half lined up for food, and it's very heartening. It's very real. And but personally, what I've been through working with my crews and stuff is I get to show him that the old man still knows what the hell's he's doing. And but spiritually, it's changed a lot of me because I'm up at 5:15 every day, and I get to go out with the dog, and I do my meditating, and then I feed the chickens, and I just start my day off nice and quiet, and because I know that the rest of the day is just going to go downhill, at work. Physically it's been tough, but spiritually it's been really good. And just to take it back to the beginning, Robert, when you were talking about writing your own eulogy, that I've done that a couple times, but I recently lost my brother in January, and having 5 kids, I decided to get married and have a son when I was 47. He's 17 now, and he's going to be relatively young when I pass on. But if there's any consolation, he's got 4 great siblings, and if there's any peace that I feel, it's that he'll be with them. And because nobody in my family's ever made it to 70, my goal is to be the first one. And so, but
I think you will be too, you old bastard.
Well, I don't think so, Robert. So, and it's okay. I just these things at the board meetings and the I think I'm more in touch with the pain that a lot of people in this country are going through just to feed their family for one day. it's, you know, yes, I am grateful, and we give where we can. I always have. And but there's people across this country, they don't know whether to pay their electric bill or get a bowl of cereal, or, you know, and I'm really in touch with that. I mean, we have no control. We have no control of this pandemic. You know, it's a very unknown thing. I pray a lot more for other people, that's for sure. You know, and but you'll never catch me in Florida. Not, you know, they don't call Florida God's wait. I already live there. They don't call it God's waiting room for nothing. So, but all in all, you know, it's good. My kids are, you know, my daughter's going to be a senior in college. My son is going to be a senior in high school, and I got both ends of the spectrum. When we were the first ones in New York State to close down our school in March, and Ben did really great with his online classes and his training for his running. He's one of the top runners in the state now, and it looks like his season's going to be canceled, and it's okay. It's okay with him, which makes me feel good. He's still training every day. My daughter, on the other hand, she goes to school in Baltimore. One of the, you know, I've actually had breakfast with Clemens down there a couple times, and on the other end of the spectrum, she was depressed. She goes, you know, they shut down the schools, and it's like, Dad, how do I do a clay and pottery class in my fucking bedroom? You know, it's like, you know, so, yeah, I just take it, I go back to my early days when I was actually seeing a therapist when I first got sober. And one thing that sticks out to me to this day is nothing ever stays the same. It always changes. And I want to be more of an optimist on what's happening in the world. I think a lot of good will come out of what we're doing, but in the meantime, it's tough. It's tough. I feel for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that died of this disease. And so, yeah, Robert, it's, I think about my mortality at least every other day.
Yep. I hear you, Tom.
And you know what? I really love my life. I hope I get to hang around a while, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever it is, you know?
Good stuff,
that's about
Tom.
it.
Good stuff.
That's all I got. That's it.
Thanks,
It's good
man.
to see everybody.
Good stuff.
Mr. Roden, how are you doing?
Hey, Leung.
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Sorry for the disruption before. I was in the car picking up my 12-year-old stepdaughter from her friend's house. You know, take care of the family, doing my thing. Good to see everybody on the call. Sutton, good to see you, man. Clemens, good to hear you. Pryor, Mac, freaking Rosen, the whole crew here tonight. My first men's meeting in a little while.
There you go.
You know, I just
you got to change that, Roden.
No, I know. So picking up on the self-reflection piece, you know, I mean, look, we all got a lot of time on our hands, like with this thing, and, you know, not out there socially as much as we were, and very much a time of self-reflection. You know, there's so much, there's such a disparity with so many things about what's going on for different people, you know, what Mac was talking about. And, you know, I'm a real estate agent in Vermont, and like every person who lives in a city in the United States wants to come here and buy their Vermont log cabin now. It's, you know, it's just such a weird situation. It's really true. You know, there's people up here like offering people money for their houses when they're not even for sale. It's like, what do you want for the house? Price is no object.
Really?
That's going on here in Vermont right now.
Wow.
Oh, you know, and I'm a realtor, and, you know, I'm pretty blessed. I run an office for a company. I'm a sales director, and they, for some reason, wanted me to run another office. And now I run two offices. And this all was taking place during the pandemic. And, you know, it's just amazing what we're kind of capable of doing, you know, when we just put our heads down and just do it. I'm in the grind right now, you know, like just talking about digging in and digging deep a little bit. You know, I got an admin who's leaving, and she sort of wants to give me a couple of dings on the way out the door, and had some agents leave the company. And, you know, I have these two beautiful offices, all fancy, interior designed, and just working like a dog, you know, just working way too much. And, you know, just hear what people are talking about just with self-reflection and just like looking at what's really important, you know, like how Sutton went down to Florida. He's just like, look, you know, like I got some things that are important going on here. And I'm just working. And, you know, Leung, you were talking about, you know, holding on to your stocks when you shit the bed, you know, and I do not want to be that guy. And, you know, it's like just looking at what's important. And, you know, I look at some of my men's work, and, you know, some of the things that still kind of come back at me are discipline. You know, it's like, you know, should be working out, should be taking care of myself better. I'm just like waking up. My 12-year-old was just preaching to me in the car. She's like, you really need to take a break. You know, you go to work at 7, you stop at like 10 or 11, you're just going nuts, because I'm trying to take care of everybody. And, you know, not a good place to be. But, you know, I like my job. And the interesting thing is my boss who runs the company, he has 700 agents working for him. He's does a lot of coaching. He's worked with a lot of coaches, and he asked me if I wanted to do some coaching with him. So, you know, be careful what you ask for, right? So this coming Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning, I have my first coaching session with him. So
that's great, man.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to suggest, man.
You were?
Well, I was going to suggest you get some men in your life, and, you know, get somebody to kick your ass in a good way, not to work harder, but to work smarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I have to work smarter. Yeah, the discipline thing is big for me, and it's always been something. You know, I remember a man once saying, a man without discipline is just wasting time, or something like that.
Yeah, right.
So that one sticks in my head fairly often. You know, I play that tape quite a bit. Yeah.
That's good for you, man.
Thanks for letting me check in. I appreciate it. Thanks,
That's
Dan.
good to see you, man.
You too, brother. All the best. Yeah, you look great.
Stay in touch, man.
I will.
Yeah. I want to talk to this guy Steven, because I just like his picture here.
Yeah, Steven's wanted to get in for a bit, so Steven, come on in.
Can you hear me all right, guys? Sorry.
Yeah, you're on, Steven.
All right, I'm on. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yep.
Perfect. No, I mean, for me, I definitely want to say that I do resonate with John earlier. Like, you know, this definitely has made a big difference in regards to, you know, the way you live your life. For sure, you know, I was, you know, more of a man that saw everything very narrow-minded. You know, I just saw everything that, you know, that masculinity was in one way, just being, you know, just aggressive and just being, you know, not sharing your emotions, you know, thinking everything that everyone else does is, you know, somewhat weird and whatnot. So I think this time around, I definitely was able to see that there's so many things that, you know, that you live and you learn from. And especially, you know, there was an event, I guess, during COVID that really impacted me as well too, because, you know, my one of my great aunts passed away, and like because of COVID, and I guess, you know, it was that, you know, it just showed me that life is short. And, you know, she was, you know, it just impacted me because, you know, her husband, my great uncle, passed away, you know, a couple years, like 2 years ago. And then for her, she was just like, you know, just, you can see that she just wanted to be with him. And so in that aspect, I was thinking about, you know, about my relationship with my partner, and then, you know, how it was very difficult. And I guess, and it wasn't my partner was making it difficult. It was I was making it difficult for myself and for her. And I guess in a way, you know, there was a lot of negative things that, you know, that I wasn't changing, that I could have changed easily, and I just wasn't doing it. So, you know, I just felt that there was a different way of living life and seeing life. And that definitely, you know, helped me, because it helped me in a way that it helped me be more open with my family, as well as be open with, you with my kids and be more open with her, and as well to, just trying out different things that I never thought I would try ever in my life. I never thought I would be doing meditation. I never thought I would be doing, talking to, to men, being able to express, my feelings with men. I am part of a men's group that's here in Toronto as well too. And the impact alone was just like, I guess in a way hard, but easy. Cause there was one time that I was on a call with my men, and I just was able to express everything that I couldn't express with, I guess, with, my drinking buddies or, other men that were just, not like just yes men. So I guess in a way, like it made me realize that, the men's group and just being able to express yourself really does change your aspect and your view on how you live, because there's nothing more, I guess, there's nothing more beneficial than being able to express your emotions to men that actually are listening, like really deep down listening to, what you're trying to say. Because like I said, I mean, for me, I was using, I guess, alcohol as a way of like expressing my, my anger and all my issues. So in a way, I felt that, there was recently a time that I was able to express, all my problems with my men. And then for me, like going out with other men to just, have a beer was like, I didn't really need it, because I used all my emotions. I expressed all my hurt, all my anger, everything I did with my men, that there was no point. So I was able to, enjoy just being out like with friends and not need alcohol to enjoy like being with my friends. So, and I guess I started also, working out. That definitely has made me, lose some weight, and that's also made me feel more confident, made me feel more, I guess, better about myself. And, it also being able to talk to my son that, I did feel that there was a point that we weren't really talking as much, just because maybe I was not focusing on him, but I was able to focus on him as well. Now, now that I guess my mind was more open to be able to talk to him and not always, having a drink and then coming hungover or being hungover the next day, and just saying I'll do it, we'll do it another day, we'll do it another. So now we play basketball a lot more often, so we do things that are a bit more, and I guess have conversations as men. So I mean, in general, I just find that this COVID did bring a lot of like help, I guess, and made me see life differently than I would have been seeing if it wasn't for COVID. So it has its positive, but it has its negatives. But I mean, it's just, I'm just grateful that I was able to somewhat like restart my life and for the better, I guess.
That's great. That's a great story, Stephen. I'm happy for you, man. Yeah.
Thanks.
Good work.
Guys.
Good work. And thanks for sharing that too. It's good stuff.
Do we have anyone else? If not, we'll probably start winding it out. But thank you for all the men that have showed up, not only listening wise, but sharing wise. Well, I think, Mr. Leung, we done good.
Yeah, I think we did too.
I think we done good. Yeah, I think we showed up.
Yeah, I think we're a good team.
Well, now I get the full experience of what a team calls. I think I've got the full experience. I've really got that experience tonight.
I don't think you've got the full experience.
Well,
yet, because
partial.
You have to be in the center of the circle to get that experience too. But I think you're working your way up there.
Okay. Well, I've had. Will we admit I just at least had an appetizer tonight?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Totally. I think you've had more than that, and you've given more than that too. So no worries, Dr. Bride.
No problem. Any final words you'd like to share with our audience?
I would just like to speak to, something I think we've touched on it on the call, but the power of our ability to express ourselves as men, to be able to express our emotions in times of stress and anxiety like this, is a really powerful tool to keep us healthy and on course. And it's a practice, almost like a meditation, that that helps to keep us aware of what's really going on for us. And the conversation that we have in our mind, which is most often the kinds of conversations that we do have, tend to keep us in a circular pattern, you know, that doesn't necessarily change. It's got its good side and then it's got its bad side. It's a cycle. And in order to break through that, I think you have to have a conversation with someone else. Sometimes the conversation with yourself is just you talking to someone who's not that bright and doesn't have a perspective on yourself. And I speak from, you know, personal experience. I've been on a men's team for almost 30 years. And, you know, we all think we know exactly the answer to everything and how to do it. And so being able to put aside your ego and can have a conversation with other men, I think is really critical. Like what we're doing now. I think this is really important, but having that men's team in your life, having your men who are there for you and know your bullshit, and are not going to let you sit in that, is to me the greatest solution to that. And a good dog is great too, Roden. A good dog is great. I've got two, but
Roden's got him right with him right there. He's got three.
All right. So get some men back in, like get 3 of them back in your life too, Roden. But that to me is the key. If you sit by yourself, that conversation, you know, eventually it kind of spirals downward, I think. So you want to get fresh input.
Good stuff. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
HOMcoaching@gmail.com. That's Heart of Man. That's what HOM stands for. HOMcoaching@gmail.com. Roden, give me a shout so I can get your email too, man.
Okay.
We'll do, Leon.
HOMcoaching@gmail.com.
Well, you can put it. Yeah, there it is. Put it, at least put it in the chat on the Zoom platform. I'd like to thank everyone who showed up tonight. As Stephen just said in the comments, we all did show up. That's very, very true. I'm Dr. Vibe. I host this wonderful conversation called M&M Explorers that is produced by the Men and Masculinity team of Lee, Michelle, Terry, and Steve. If you want to find out more information about Men and Masculinity, go to their website, menandmasculinity.com. Replays of these epic conversations, details on upcoming conversations will be highlighted there. I'm going to end off the conversation with 2 quick things. I don't know who mentioned it. I think maybe Robert or someone in the conversation said intimacy. When I hear the word intimacy, I say into me see. Into me see. And I take that everyone that's watching this live is a leader and reaches out. Had a call today by my dad, called me and he said, I just called to hear your voice. Men, let's make that call to hear other men's voices. On that note, I'd like to say God bless, peace be well, keep the faith, and we'll see you soon. And thanks to Lee Rosen.
Peace out.
Take care, men.
Thanks,
man.
Yeah, great night. Thanks.
Good to see you, man.
Thanks for joining.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good call.
You're still live on